terms of assessing group work, I would say most of the time it went pretty well. Since we have the rubrics, it's possible to tell the contribution of each student in their group assignment.
My experience with group work is that it has more benefits than disadvantages.
I'm a true believer in using learning goals and having students deal with what goals or what do I need to work on through a project, and then halfway through I'll usually stop and say, okay, let's look at your learning goals. What do you need? Where are you going for? Not just how's it going and is he doing his work? How are you progressing with the learning goals? Keeping the focus on the learning process will keep the motivation higher, I believe.
On occasion I've tried to incorporate the functioning of the group itself. But what I would want to be able to do is to assess the process of cooperation.
My experience with assessing group work is mainly limited to the assignments that we do in statistical courses, because those are done in groups of 3 to 4 people. Grading group work is difficult if you want to be able to judge individual capability or individual knowledge. And it's actually a topic that we're doing a lot of work on right now and a lot of study into. But for now, what we decided is that every course that contains group work should also contain enough individual assessments to be able to really judge students' individual level. So apart from the assignments, we have the multiple choice exam, which is individual, computer practicals, which is individual, so we have some individual measures as well. One of the things that will help, or it helps me in my group work, is establishing criteria for what I'm going to grade in the term of competencies, not just a checklist of what they need to fill in or what needs to be in a report with the students. I think that will definitely help, and supervising that group.
In terms of grading, I grade for the team together, but not for individual team members.
Despite the fact that there is free riding in some cases and there are students that are slacking and prefer that their colleagues do all the work, most of the times I can feel when this happens. I can sense them that they are unsatisfied, and then I try to grade them differently. But usually most groups are graded with 1 grade per group.
The other thing that I've done often is using a lot of peer assessment. I think that if students know that they're going to be graded not by just me as the assessor, but also by their colleagues, it changes some of the dynamics in the group.
Something that I would like to try is have students that have produced something as a group grade their own functioning in the group personally, and also the way they feel the other members of the group participated in the end product.
What is interesting, what I've seen over the years, is students are pretty good at grading themselves. And the system that I used allowed students to lose as much as 100% of the grade or gain extra 100%, so actually 200% of the grade. And what I saw was that students out themselves would grade themselves a little bit lower if they didn't do it, and they would accept that. And so all the discussions that we had about free riding and I've done more and he doesn't, a lot of that was eliminated. And it wasn't a perfect system, but it was a good instrument in the true sense of the word to get the discussion going, to get the students to reflect on their own performance and go forward. I do truly believe that even the appearing less motivated students, if they're hit with the right openness or allowed to do their interest in a group work, I think that would help out enormously. That's obviously very utopian in that sense, because what certainly comes with that is the formal education system, where it's so many weeks and so many hours, so there are a lot of restrictions in there.
Group work is really important to make it clear at the beginning that they should be responsible as a team for the outcome of their assignment. because that is basically the grade for everybody in the team for this course.
Despite not having the best relationship at the beginning, they start to understand each other, they start to work with each other and collaborate. So in the end, group work helps them on many aspects. So not only gathering the knowledge that they need, but also understanding how to communicate with each other.
There's also different motivations in a group, in the sense of students just want to pass, other students want to get a good grade, and the others want to do their best. And I think that's tricky.
Cooperation, learning students to do something with others. Others they don't get to choose themselves. It's something we feel is very important. It's in our learning objectives, but it's very hard to assess it in a fair way.
We haven't taught the students well how to work in groups. We just think it's going to happen. And I think in year one, there needs to be much more of an emphasis on the process and what's expected, talking in the group with expectations, so that eventually in the masters, this is just normal habit, and a lot of those things, I believe, will be reduced.